What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Of course, you are watching TWA Motorsports. And look, in the last video on the dually, I know I kind of left you guys hanging. I started on the speakers. I didn't finish, but here's why. I wanted to spend a little more time to do a few other things, and I didn't want to rush that video together. So we are picking up right where we left off on the dually. And if you guys remember in the last video, we got the white door handles in it. We got the white bow tie on it. We got the shortened antenna. We did a little paint correction before we put the door handles on to make it look a little better, and because, look, this area is always grody and nasty. I like the door handles, obviously the bow tie, the short antenna, I like all that stuff. Now, we got to the point where we took the trim out that went up along the door here, and it's all cleaned up laying over there, and then you could see that I went over the outers here and they look really clean. Then we got to the point where I started cutting on the door a little bit in order to get the speaker in. Well, here's what I'd like to do in this video. I want to finish that install, and I'll list again in the description, guys, the stuff that I'm using. But remember, we picked the speakers, the same speakers that we got out of Cohen's or put in Cohen's WS6. And so I want to put those in today. Obviously, I want to put the baffles in that you saw in the last video, but you guys are going to see that in a little bit. But I'd also like to use the kind of like the coating or kill mat sound deadening material that I've used on several other of these builds that I've done. So the whole interior of the green truck back there is done in it, and I want to make it no different here. Now, the downside with doing a door panel, guys, is you're going to need a lot of these openings, right? So these guys here are all correlated with a clip on the back of the door panel. So you're going to have those, all right? We can't cover those. But what we can do is we can cut littler pieces and do sections of this. Now, you don't necessarily have to cover it, okay? So you don't have to go over the entire everything that's white. Essentially, you don't have to go over that, but you can if you'd like. I just don't know if we're going to take that avenue. So what I'm planning on doing is, now that we've got it clean, I may go over it one more time just from here up in the door, because look, it's not going to stick very well to stuff that's not clean, and I just want to make sure that we got everything clean. The other thing I want to do is I want to roll that window down, and I want to clean that felt. See how, I don't know if you guys can tell on camera, but it's really dirty. That felt's really dirty, and I just don't want to have any chances of scratching the window. And I'm also going to clean up kind of in this channel and possibly clean a little on the glass. I don't know if that's etched. It looks, well, maybe on the inside actually. Okay, that's on the inside. Yeah, so there's just a bunch of grossness on those felts, so we need to get that clean as well. Look at this help I got out here. You say hi? Boy, she's silent on camera. All right, so here's what we got. I got the door frame cleared off again. I cleaned up a lot of the imperfections. I still got a little bit. It'd probably be best if I rolled this window down and took that felt off, but I really don't want to take the mirror off just to do that. But I don't know if you guys can see, there's a little haze on the glass. We may just deal with that. I could probably scrape a little bit of that off. It's just from years of having dirt and debris on it. But you can see I've got the first piece on. Now, I'm using the smaller stuff, so the 50 mil, which is a little thinner. I don't want to have any issues with our mechs working, and I don't want to have any issues with it being too thick for the door panel to go on, or the top felt here. So that's the reason I'm using the smaller stuff. Now, it's still going to kill some sound, but it's going to take some time, guys. I'll probably time lapse a lot of this because I'm going to be cutting little pieces trying to cover big sections. Now, look, don't make it look dumb by going outside of the line where your door panel is going to set, because nothing looks worse than like dyno mat or kill mat or whatever you're using hanging out from behind a panel. It looks really dumb. So I'm just going to kind of start to use, I'll be able to use bigger pieces in here. Don't cover up any of your holes that you're going to need. This one goes behind the lock. You need it. This guy here goes behind the door handle. You're going to need it. Try not to cover any of your 10 millimeters. If you want, you could actually back those out, put a piece there. I don't think I'm going to get that elaborate. Same thing here. I'm not going to take these pieces out. Now, I may swing this mechanism out of the way in order to get a little better coverage back behind here, so I'm not trying to tuck it in behind. But yeah, don't go overboard to do this. I don't think I'm probably going to take the, I don't know, I may take the handle off. I don't think I probably will, though. But yeah, grab a 10mm. Oh, don't, this one right here, I think the panels we're gonna use, we may not need that, but the newer style has a bolt back here. But we're gonna go all the way around this thing and see if we can get it covered. After you can see, or well, after a couple hours, you can see that I've got this entire door covered. It's a lot of work. Is it worth it? I don't know. You know, definitely sounds a lot less tinny. I think it'll help. I think it'll really help with the speaker not rattling around like the doors and stuff. But now, guys, what I need to do is I need to figure out how we're gonna hook up the speaker, right? So you've got your factory lead, which is this guy right here. Okay, this goes out to the speaker, and then you should have another one like right here. Should be the same colors, and that goes to your tweeter in the door panel. But here's what I've done. I cut this connection off the stock speaker. The stock speaker was trashed. What I'm thinking I can do is I can melt the solder out of here, and then I can still use my factory plug. Okay, so this guy will plug in like that, and we can pin our new speakers to this. Actually, what I could do is I could cut this off and use a spade connector right there on the end of that. I bet you. I think that's what I'll do, as opposed to trying to solder it. We'll use a spade connector on both ends, but I'm gonna go do that real quick, and we'll see how that works. It may not work, I may have to solder to it, but now that I look at it, I think that could potentially work. Just so we're hooking this up right, tan is the positive and gray is the negative, all right? So I've got 2 short pieces cut over there. I actually was able to use those spade connectors, which you'll see here in a minute, but I just wanted to go over that so you guys know. Now, I probably didn't have to do this, but made sure that the correct wire was going to the correct spot, and I dropped some solder, even though it's ugly. I need a soldering iron instead of a gun. Drop some solder in there to keep these from coming off, because guys, in the past I've had these things work loose when you hit bumps. So I always like to make sure that they're nice and snug. I generally don't do that on the speaker because they fit pretty tight on the speaker, but you know, when I'm doing stuff like this, I like to solder them. So I'm going to tape those up, and we are ready to plug this in. I'm going to test it first, and then we'll go grab our neoprene surround. Now, part of these surrounds, so these guys right here, they come with these, and they're kind of like a sound bouncing mechanism, as you could say, just a waffle weave. But I've cut it. It's supposed to look like that one right there. It's a circle, but obviously, guys, the door does not allow us to do that. So I've cut this and I've cleaned it with some just some alcohol. So I'm going to separate that, put this directly behind the speaker, and then all we have to do is get the speaker up into place. You can see I already put my keepers in there, and they fit. Actually, I didn't have to bend them now because it has the additional stuff around it. So if you have to, you may have to crimp those a little to keep them in place, but I think we're good to install the speaker. It did work. I tested it, and I completely forgot the other door doesn't have a speaker, so I was wondering why it didn't work, but that would be why. So let's get this thing plugged up and put into place. Now, this isn't optimal. Let me get my light. This isn't optimal, but it's better than nothing. And so there's what we got. Got it separated, put in there. Now let's get the speaker up into place. Well, I've got it in there, and seems to be working great. You can see the surround. And look, guys, if you have trouble, you can actually fold this thing back. So like if we have trouble getting our door panel on, we can fold this over like that. And then what'll happen is over time, it'll kind of make its way back out and up against the panel. So I have had trouble with that in the past, like getting the panel line back up, but it folds over nicely. Same thing on the inside, it folds over if it gets in the way. But I think we're clear of all the stuff as far as door related. I'm gonna roll the window up and down a couple times just to double check, but yeah, now all we gotta do is, golly, spend another hour or two on the other side. We got the second door complete. Now, look, guys, now Cohen actually did this door, and he did a really good job. Look, we've got to poke holes though where all these wires go. So these guys, look, we covered the hole, and so you've got to kind of feel on the back side. And what I do is, like, for one, let's just go with this one right here because I can see it. I just take a punch or a pick like this, and now we've got that one, and we are good there. We'll push it in, and we need to go through and do that on all the holes, because if you don't, then your wire's just going to be flopping around the door. That's not something you want. We're just going to put this down here for now. And then once you get one or two of them in place, sometimes you can poke from the back side and then go in. And so the other thing I use, I got another pick somewhere, oh, a curved one, to come in areas like up here where we can't see. But we need to get all that pushed back into place all the way up the door. And then I'm gonna go ahead, do the same thing right here, get our speaker mounted just like we did on the other side over there. and I think we'll be finished. I got all the wires hooked back up, back in their spots. I got the speaker in. As you can see, guys, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, we got to roll these over in order to get the door panel on. But we are finished with this project on this truck. Look, I'm not putting the door panels back on right now because, like I said, I've got those pieces of felt cleaned up really well. Got the jams cleaned up. I actually put this one back in. The other one's still out. But yeah, we're gonna get the windows tinted while these are off. And then, guys, I'm actually, these switch where they hold on are broken. So I'm gonna have to figure something out on that when we get to that point. I actually have to do that. I'm going to fasten them probably permanently to the door panel. So I've got to figure out a way to do that, a method to do that. But honestly, guys, this is a very time-consuming process. I'm not gonna lie, putting these little pieces in, the doors are really hard to do. You know, like the floors and the ceiling, stuff like that, those aren't too bad because they're bigger pieces. You don't have to cut as many small ones, but the doors are a pain. And I actually didn't even do this in my green truck, but I think it's worth it. I think it quiets the truck down quite a bit, and definitely is worth the time and effort you spend to do it. At least I think so. Gets rid of a lot of rattles in the door, makes the speaker sound better with the baffles. And like I said, guys, I'll be listing all the stuff that I use in this video down in the description below. But like I said, I'm trying to get through. I know a lot of people are wanting to see the front of this dropped and the front wheels on, but I'm trying to get through some stuff, like I said, that's over on my cabinet, that's been here for a while, that I've been wanting to do. I think, guys, I've got another video planned for this. In the next video, I believe we're going to be knocking out the headliner. It needs recovered. My neighbor is an upholstery guy, so it makes it relatively easy, but there's kind of a sequence to stuff that I want to do that you guys are going to see in this next video, because I like to do, this is why things snowball with me. I get into one thing and I like to do several, but you'll see that in the next video. But if you guys did enjoy this little speaker install, and of course the dyno mat, I don't want to call it's kill mat, sorry. Dyno mat's like Kleenex to people. So anyway, it's called kill mat. Guys, if you're curious how much I used here, I had one box of the 50 mil and a box of 80 mil. Okay, so the 50 mil is what I like to use on the doors, just because we don't generally have any issues putting the door panels back on. Don't cover any places like I did to put your door panels back on. But yeah, I didn't even use half a box to do both doors. So yeah, you can get by with that. I'll list it in the description as well. But like always, guys, if you are not subscribed, go get subscribed. Of course, like always, while you're doing all this stuff, go down, ring that bell notification. That will notify you every single time we drop a new video. And stay tuned to see what we do on this track next.